son. More orange. We are back. That was a hell of a first game, and as you've seen, we have started the painting. Now, the rule has been that we have decided that we will only continue this painting up until now. It's been a drawing, but now it's a painting. When we're on camera, so we don't do it while the games are on. So it really is about 20 to 25 minutes worth of painting for this masterpiece. Little strokes. All right. You're really creeping the hell out of everyone. All right, that first game. Juves, tell me, if you're Bombers, it looked like you're going into every single one of those fights. There's like a 50-50 chance that you're going to win. But Direwolves basically pitch perfect in every execution. How do you beat them like that? And please talk into your microphone.
I think it was just the early game was just a process of, multitasking is very hard. I think the early game was just a process of Bombers getting outplayed in the early game, getting picked off and giving an incremental lead to Direwolves, and then all those team fights in the top lane and mid lane were like really close, and I think Bombers started them off quite well, but they just got outplayed on like a micro level, and the gold lead, the incremental gold lead was just too much for them, and I am really good at this.
Do you feel like there was a mental game at play as well for Bombers?
Yeah, I feel like when I looked at the player cams after every play, or like even in lane when they took like bad trades, I feel like it was like the look of like defeat. Like they almost looked like really like they lacked a lot of confidence, like they were defeated. So it's good. I know it's hard for them to come back from like the early start they've had, but I'd like to see them just be like more positive and upbeat, especially in the player cams. And I think I've saved this. I think this is saved.
I think so as well. Are you worried about how you're supposed to have credibility talking about League of Legends while you look the way you look?
Credibility. I'm like a descendant of Picasso.
All right, whatever. So the way that we're approaching this now is that obviously we've started painting. We figured we would paint the oranges and the reds first. We get the hair done, and then we move towards the face, which is definitely the most difficult part of this. What I'm worried about is the fact that all the pencil marks are still showing through. How do you propose we solve that?
It's a process.
It's a process.
You can't rush the process.
You just put enough paint on there, I'm sure.
Happy little strokes.
I know what we do. We just put dark red over all the pencil marks, and then it'll hide it. That's exactly what we do.
This is why me and you do this.
This is exactly why we were chosen.
I just want to know if this is the supposed easy bit of the painting, how they're going to get through the hard bit of the painting.
Also,
I know.
Isn't it backwards to go hair then face? Because like,
You know
can't
what?
you do the face and then if like you get a bit of hair on your face, you know, like he's got scraggly hair, it's fine. But you can't get face on your hair.
Yeah. Excuse me, Bryce.
Very-
Who are the dickheads dressed in the painting smocks? Okay, you let us do our job, and we'll let you do yours. That being said, though,
I don't like the backseat gaming there by Bryce. If you want to come down here and show how the big boys how to do it, come step down into the big boy painting ring, then have a go, mate.
I'm out. You're
But
fine. Do what you want.
I think I'm doing a very good job. I've watched a lot of Bob Ross. Have you watched Bob Ross?
Yes.
Huh?
Nick hasn't though.
No. Well, what does it matter?
I know,
he's
I'm
done?
pure. I'm pure. I'm coming at it from a different perspective. Now, the real question that I actually have,
I've got to get close to the lips.
Besides
Very
the
close
fact
to the
that
lips.
this wig is really ruining my wide shot because you can't see my eyes,
Very
is that
close,
we
very
need to figure
close.
out how to get the skin color, because there's no skin color paint, which, by the way, I think I could make a fortune on if I started selling that. Bryce,
might
you have
need
an
a smaller
artistic
brush.
background. What would you mix together to make your skin other than just the pure white tube?
Oh, I have an artistic back. No, I think. Do you have a brown? Like, what colors do you have?
We
I don't know what
okay.
this does. Can someone
We've got a
tell me?
lot. We don't have a brown. We've got a red, orange, yellow, white, black, purple, green, blue.
I'm not
work.
artistic, but like I think get some orange and then darken it with some black to like try and get towards a brown, and then just like put in white to get to his skin. I don't know. Maybe I failed the color wheel, obviously.
You definitely did. I would argue that I reckon we would take mainly white, because that's mainly what his skin is, and then add possibly a bit of red and maybe some yellow to just
That's what I would
differentiate
do.
between the hair.
I would do mainly white, and then I would get one side of it and put red on, and I would use that for his nose, because he does have a pretty, pickish red nose. and then I would have yellow and red on the other side, and I would mix that together, and that will give you like the whitey brown.
Can I just chime in, guys? Because I'm really into this.
Yep.
For the viewers watching at home, if you really want to learn how to paint, it's all in the wrists. It's all in the wrist.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just flicking the wrist
Well,
and getting this texture.
To be fair, no one thought it was all in the ankles. So
Yeah.
like I don't know. I
You're
mean,
right.
I don't want to bag on you, but that doesn't seem like the
Now,
most insightful.
now that you're being a negative Nancy,
You're
like,
right. You're. It's because I've been speaking to Bryce too much.
Like,
He's
what's
brought me down.
the point? We're trying to have some fun here, and now I'm just.
Us brothers who run a greengrocer but also moonlight as painters need to stick together. Rusty the Caster says this is the funniest thing I've ever watched. Rapids AU says it's all in the wrist, boys. Speaking of Rapids AU wanted to celebrate the fact that we were painting by doing his own little painting of me. The original version had green eyes, and I said, why are my eyes green? My eyes are a deep blue you can get lost in forever. And there he is in the background getting lost in those eyes forever. So congratulations, Rapids. You scored yourself a nice free skin.
I need some help now. Now where do I go from here? Tell me where I go from here.
Okay, I'm going to give you two pieces of advice.
Uh-huh.
One, red, not orange, I reckon, for next. And maybe the mustache bit there.
Yeah, darkness. Darkness.
Yeah, darkness. And two, speed. Because we need to finish this thing in just a couple of segments.
So this red one here. This red one right here.
Do you want me to do some red?
Yeah,
and you can,
have a go.
We've got the chat here
Have
that
a
you
go,
can monitor
champ.
there. Have a microphone.
Thank you. We'll swap spots.
Now we get a contrast point. Now we can decide who's the better painter.
I feel like I've
between
been fired.
Nick and
Can we?
Juice. I mean, well,
Whoa,
Nick's,
whoa,
Nick's got
whoa,
the
whoa,
speed.
whoa.
He's got hella paint.
See,
on.
I'm-
It's all in,
that
it's
is-
all in,
listen,
it's
that
all
is
in the
rolling.
ankles, boys.
I'm-
It's all in the
I'm-
ankles.
I'm eloquent. I feel like I'm the classy one here. I'm just like putting in the details, taking time, because you can't rush perfection. You can't. But we've rushed it now. Now that's what's happened.
I don't know. I feel like his technique could just lob it on a whole load of paint. Like that's good.
Do we want some picture with that paint or not?
Hang on. No, you haven't seen it yet because I am taking your advice. It is all in this. And here's
Oh,
what's going to
can
happen.
I just say, Juves is not paid nearly enough. Looking at the producers for that one. Thanks, Twitch chat.
Did you write that in Twitch chat?
I
we
actually
get
got my
some
mum. I
form of
messaged my
proof
mum
that-
before I came on here. I'm like, Mum, make an account and just put in there. You need to be paid more.
I don't know what this does.
It's a
Have a
it's
go.
the
knife.
It's a palette.
No, you're meant to scratch texture into it. That's
No,
what
but
you
I
do.
want to scratch colors together. I'm mixing together
Ah.
like I mean
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was supposed to be red and black to make a darker red, but it's mainly just made like a shittier black.
It
So
is. It is quite.
that'll be fine. But I'm gonna take this one here, which looks like a little fan,
Yep.
and then here's
Just
what
fan
you-
it in, dude.
you
Just
wanna
fan it
fan
in.
it in. Here's what we're doing.
Hey, just
Hang
give
on.
it a little fan. Come, keep the inside voice, please.
And we just do
Just
a bit of
fan
this.
it in. Just fan it in.
Oi!
Oi.
Hey!
What's
It's
he
just a
done?
happy little
What's he
accident.
done?
It's
Hey.
fine.
What's it? Ruined.
Actually-
Twitch chat. Say
No, hold
ruined.
on. That's looking not bad. I reckon.
Where are your eyeballs?
No, I'd like. Okay, if I'm gonna compare the dark orangey red bit, that looks a little more
We
realistic.
need to get it more brown.
than the just
more brown.
The
How do we get
slapstick
brown?
orange that we've put in there.
Is
Add
it red and yellow brown?
How do we get brown in
I
there,
don't
boys?
know. Twitch chat.
Twitch
Ask
chat,
Twitch
Brett,
chat.
Twitch
Help.
chat. Google, use your tools. We need help, man. All I see is ruined. Ruined doesn't help. That's negative emotion.
Ruined. We need self-confidence and positivity here. Painting is not about an outcome; it's about a process. So it's all about expressing your artistic endeavor as you're doing it, not ending up with
Someone-
something that looks exactly like the picture.
In Finicky,
Yep.
said blend those two colors, you'll get brown. So just give it a blend.
Which
Keep
two?
blending. There we
Oh, the
go.
two.
Oh.
There we go.
Oh no, that did actually ruin. No, ignore that.
Isn't that brown?
I mean, yeah, from a
brown.
distance, like if you stand far enough away, like if you were 3 kilometers away from this, you'd be like, that looks exactly
think-
like the original.
More happy. Give it more happy strokes. More happy strokes.
Oh god.
Stop saying that.
No, that's what Twitch chat's saying.
Yeah,
I
Twitch
just
chat's
think.
saying
I
that.
think I do need to like.
and when is repeating what Twitch says on broadcast ever a good idea?
I need to give you guys a little bit of credit because Bob Ross paints like landscapes and stuff and uses the knife to make like the mountains.
cheating.
And you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Gragas doesn't have any mountainy strokes.
That's
He's very-
true.
He's got a
very-
mountain of a body.
He's very flowy and wavy. So
That's
kind
true.
of Twitch chat really like ruined your day picking the Gragas picture.
They did. They set us up for failure.
That was sharp,
But I'll
actually.
say they've set us up for failure. But if there's anyone that can come through failure, it's me and Nick.
It's us, the greengrossing brothers.
Yep.
All right. Boys, I think you're ready for game 2. And when we come back, we're going to, I don't know, continue this
We'll
slow
fix it.
destruction
There's
of
no
a
such thing as ruined.
League of Legends
There's
IP.
only, there's only
Ruined.
just cut to the break.
There's only ruin.
All right.
Disaster.
I kind of agree with the senseless destruction of Riot IP. In fact, that is so far off that I think any copyright claim that was filed would get thrown out in a court of law because you actually can't recognize it. However, we are at the Champions League for game number 2 between the Direwolves and the Bombers.
And speaking of destruction,
Oh,
that's what we saw in game number 1.
What a segue.
Because Bombers got absolutely ruined.
Look
and
at this. Look at this.
Where is
cityscape
this?
behind us?
I don't know where this is.
Looks like Brisbane.
Okay, our producer said Brisbane as I asked the question, and Jake just claims it. You can't do that.
What do you mean?
You're lying to the people.
I was going to say it before he told me.
No, you weren't. No, you weren't. There's no way. How many times have you been to Brisbane?
Couple, actually. I used to fight up there all the time.
Oh, okay.
As Mundo, Morgana, as well as Lucian are banned away. And Aatrox as well as Ornn will get taken off the side of Direwolf, and then they will join it with the Rakan.
Yeah, it was going to say interesting if they do pick up the Rakan first pick, but it is actually just going to be banned away by the Bombers. They respected game number 1. They first picked that Rakan with the Morgana taken away, so makes a whole lot of sense, and that's just going to be an early lock-in of the Zoe.
And guys, I don't often throw co-casters under the rug.
All right.
But right now, Kitty, who is one of the lovely people that works behind the scenes of the show, is really trying to create a color palette for the people that are painting because she's just absolutely outraged by what has happened.
They can't do it themselves.
And Kitty, to me, does seem to be someone that is very artistic. So I think that she would have a better chance. And she's shaking her head at me right now. But I think you're selling yourself short. It's going to be the Zoe as well as Nocturne Oriana locked in.
Nocturne Oriana is a
like
pretty interesting combination. You can absolutely get into the back line. 100% Jake. There's nothing you can do about that one. Him flying in with the paranoia. You can hit the ball on top of that one. So pretty interesting that we're seeing a lot more Oriana. Kind of came out of nowhere. Throwback pick, and now this is a multitude of different mid laners in the OPL picking that one up.
Once again, very quick draft coming out of Direwolves as they go towards the Kindred and the Swain.
Obviously very comfortable on this pick in the jungler. Schönfire had a pretty good game number 1. Caught off a couple of times, but overall, very happy. Had an absolutely monstrumental lead. And
Monstrumental.
Monstrumental.
Monstrous or monumental?
Monstrous and monumental and instrumental.
All at the same time.
All 3, triple whammy into the one word. But Flame's Respite into Shockwave, very good answer, stuff like that. It is going to be the Hail of Blades Jhin picked up another time.
Very interesting. That one going to go over to Tiger. They ban away the Gnar. And Tahm Kench will be banned by the Direwolves, obviously wanting to give triple as much kill potential as possible.
And is this going to be another Rosie Bard game? When this happens, when they leave the support pick very late for the Bombers and teams start banning things away, Cupcake has a pretty deep champion pool, so he's happy with the Rakan, the Morgana, the Tahm Kench taken away. Both of these support players are big Bard players, so it could be super interesting.
Is it the Pike?
Ah,
pick
possibly.
That we've seen. Haven't seen Cuppers pick it up, but
Rosie's
Swain
played.
Pike is a very good lane in my eyes.
Hit him with a harpoon, hit him with a rip back, and you can save your never move until after that point. There's a whole boatload of CC, and Swain does a whole lot of damage, but he very often gets you to about 20% HP. He lands all his abilities, hits you with the Death's Hand, blows up the ultimate, and then when you have a support that can actually execute, is super useful there, so there's definitely the opportunity for Cupcake to pick that one up.
Certainly is. It's going to be the Gangplank banned away. So BioPanther had a very good Gangplank game last week, playing weak side Gangplank, but not going to give it over to Sleeping this time around.
BioPanther's just shown that he can be a very good weak side player in general. That Mundo game with that gank that came down early, he bought so much time with the flash, the ultimate, with the stopwatch, baited that fight, baited as many cooldowns as he possibly could, and played it incredibly well, but Pike not for Cupcake.
Shen would be interesting here because Shen would mean that they're actually going to play towards BioPanther's lane.
It would. And with a Jarvan lock-in,
Why not?
if they do go for it, then you could look for that. Of course, Direwolves have this pick and then the next one, so Bombers are ultimately going to have counter pick on the top side of the map. Alistar is locked in for Cupcake. So once again, a CC support with the Swain. Talked about the Pike, a lot of the similar combinations, but you just have to commit a little bit harder with the Alistar versus the Pike.
Cupcake's the best negative Alistar in the league as well.
He's the best headbutt Alistar.
Yeah, he will headbutt away the support or the AD and then pole the other one and walk it out himself. I like that. And they're actually going to play Shen top lane. So the
Yeah.
opposite of what I said. Ignore everything I said.
That's super weird. We've seen so much Shen
Or
support.
they're going to play Alistair top lane.
Throwback, Triforce, max headbutt.
Headbutt slap when
Yep.
it was unanswerable.
Unfortunately, that got patched out. Actually, not unfortunately, because that was
Very fortunately.
literally like uncounterable in the laning phase.
Also,
Headbutt,
when you used to get 2 BF
Shen
swords worth of AD from your level 11 ultimate. Do you remember those days?
that hurt. Yeah, I did. That was 2014. That was Germany. And I had to play Alistar because Trin Minkuel, like, we picked it for him, and he's just like, oh, sorry, boys, I don't want to play it. I want to play something else.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And that was my best Alistar game ever. Came out of absolutely nowhere.
It's going to be the Camille locked in as well. Because what you used to be able to do is Trinity Force, because it used to give you crit back then double crit items. And then because you got enough AD from your ultimate, you'd just be slapping people with your ulti on.
And at that point, like, Alistar's one of those champions where he goes for the combo. He had a heal on his E back then, didn't have the ticking stun of that trample at this point. And so he was ignorable after the combo. But he, like, as like a hidden thing, he wasn't, because he's just hitting you for like 100 damage every auto attack. But there was no CC, there was no real effects that you had to play around, so you felt like you could ignore him, and you just couldn't.
All right, so Shen, Kindred, Zoe, as well as a Swain Alistar lane going up against Camille, Nocturne, Orianna, Jhin, Pyke. This is one of those compositions that you feel like Camille can team fight. Orianna, Camille seems like a pretty good 1-2 punch to me.
Yep. They have a lot of tools with the Nocturne as well to get that shockwave onto multiple people.
You can
Dials.
Sorry to interrupt you, but you can push everyone out of lands respite with Camille ulti. It's something that's just worth noting.
Yeah, that's an
Because you
interesting.
clear house with it.
Other than the one person you cast it on, but you knock everyone else away. Direwolves carries are very immobile. Swain, no dash. Zoe can go in one direction, so if Sleeping, if Seb, if Luch can lock people down, then the team fight is there for the Bombers.
Zoe's not mobile until everyone flashes. And then she
Yeah.
just dances around the whole team fight and can be pretty obnoxious. So we are on to Summoner's Rift for game number 2 between Direwolves and the Bombers. Direwolves now on your blue side. We are joined by Curtis Sharp Morgan. Very nice shirt there, mate. I like the
Thanks,
checkers.
mate. Thanks, mate.
How you going?
Great. I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, it's a long time no see. Talk to us about game number 1, because a couple of those team fights got a little bit close, but your team just seemed to get little advantages off the back end. Is that something that you guys emphasis is, like, punishing every little thing that you can in the game and taking the maximum?
I mean, in general, I guess that's a philosophy that we've kind of always had at Direwolves, is like the game. I mean, League of Legends is made up of a bunch of small wins. A very, you know, every second, every CS, everything, and the gold kind of adds up. You know, gold and kills and experience add up. And I think, like, I do know it's not really something we've been focusing on specifically, but I do think that a lot of the players, or pretty much every single player in Direwolves, does have a very they look very specific at things and don't overlook the small details.
And I want to kind of put you on the spot a little bit here. Panther in that top gank, game number 1, played it incredibly well. And I feel like throughout the season has been getting better and better. Where do you sort of see him in terms of ranking top laners in the split? Mimics had a bunch of up and down games. Panther coming in, like, where would you place him?
It's really hard. Like, again, we haven't really compared ourselves to anyone individually. At the moment, our focus is very much on just preparing for our next opponent week after week. And, like, we've had all the haters and critics, like, you know, talk about bringing an OCS player into OPL. Like, you know, we just let them talk and then speak with our actions. You know, we're very much focused on just playing our game, and then, you know, we keep winning. So, I mean,
It's pretty
can't
good
really,
strategy.
we're just going to keep talking with our actions. Yeah.
So then talk to me about that, because when you have been on top for a year and a half now, realistically, is the team difficult to, you know, continue to push to that week-to-week mentality? Do they start looking ahead, and do you have to pull them back in line, or are they very, you know, self-policing in that regard?
I believe that every player has their own levels of, you know, motivation and what they're looking to achieve. And I think that week 6, 7, this time of the year is very draining. You know, you're coming in, you can see the grand final and the finals in the distance. You know, you still got to, you've had a long, you know, if you're 6 weeks in, so you've been playing for quite a long time. So, I mean, I think this specific period of the year, or of this split, is actually quite testing. Like, I mean, both mentally and physically. So, I mean, I haven't really, I've been paying, I guess, close attention to just the energy levels in the team. And I feel like right now, it's not the time to go hard out. You know, you got to conserve a little bit of energy and in the ramp up to the finals.
And talking about the finals, I want to ask in terms of player mentality going into that sort of event. Direwolves has traditionally performed much better in a studio in terms of a live audience. Like, how do the players feel individually? Unlucky Shernfire as he didn't jump over the wall, but going into a big live event like the Melbourne Esports Open.
Yeah. I mean, the guys have, ever since that it got announced, we keep talking about it.
Yep.
I mean, every single player is like, oh, I can't wait to play in front of a crowd again. Now it's home crowd. Like, we had the Rift Rivals, which was absolutely amazing experience. Like, the guys absolutely loved that. I mean, it's something that, to be honest, I didn't even think the guys would be this excited. It's seriously not mentioned at least easily once a week. By some players potentially on their mind every single day. So I'm really excited for the guys. I think that obviously we haven't secured our spot yet. It's looking good, but it's definitely like, you know, try not to be massive on those external motivators, but it's definitely, you know, you can't deny that it's a massive external motivator for us.
And obviously, if we just look away from the Direwolves for a second, two of your biggest rivals going to be slugging it out in the next best of 3.
Yep.
Very nice combo down in the bottom lane. Hold that thought for 1 second. Nice rip back, however, from Rosie. Will save his support. And now actually they go forward. That's an ignite down. And Cuppers is in some trouble. First blood picked up for Tiger.
And that was the turnaround play. Direwolves were going aggressive. They wanted that one, and Bombers with the outplay.
Certainly is. Rosie goes forward. But, you know, ignore that play for a second as he's shaking his head. Talk to me about, like, what are you looking for in the Chiefs versus Order? And, like, who do you currently track as being the favorite going into that game?
I mean, obviously, yeah, we get some sort of inside information. We get to scrim versus both teams. I think both teams have some very obvious strengths, both with very obvious weaknesses. I think both teams have been inconsistent in the past. It's hard to deny the fact that both of them have been have failed to execute when it mattered, both like, you know, week to week in OPL. So I mean, it's really hard. It is really hard to say, and I think a lot of it, I mean, this may be a controversial statement, will most likely come down to draft.
Okay.
You know, I think there's a lot of pressure on both coaches to get what they want, and very much make sure they're not just being dictated by the other person's picks. And I feel like that is going to be a massive emphasis. So big expectations for both Choo Choos and Daruk, and to see what they whip out and see what they have planned.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, guys.
That, of course, was Sharp of the Direwolves. Luch has to flash in mid lane as he departs, so gets one back. Bottom lane, however, that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, it absolutely was. Completely manaless on the Orianna, so burns the flash. And as we mentioned, Cupcake went forward. They actually started with the Alistar E, and he just hit that button, kept walking up and wanting to pressure, but Pyke turnaround potential, flicks back. That's actually a big
double
dive.
flash forward, and that will be the kill going across. However, Shernfire tanks up the turret, will skip away now.
And that is so deep of a dive to only have to tank one turret shot on the backside. Immediately drop aggro as soon as Luch dies. Now completely summonerless. Is in a CS hole. This is a level 4 Nocturne, so pre-level 6 Nocturne really can't do squat if he's not already at the play. Has that skirmisher smite, but wasn't even around the mid lane when Luch got dove, so
yeah, if anything,
super rough.
Seb really likes that play because he was starting to fall behind and he just got to snake half an experience, way versus an experience. But I was going to say, that's what I was going to say. Interestingly enough, is Tiger's run Comet.
Yes.
So potentially a little bit more damage coming out early game than that we would have expected out of a Jhin, because Comet doesn't tickle early on in the game.
If it lands, and especially with something like a Jhin, hold that, Shernfire.
Repeat mid
Round
lane,
2.
Cupcake also here. That is going to be a whiff of the Shockwave, and he just stands still. Fire Panther also used the ult.
And look, I don't hate the Shockwave coming out of Luchi. He's probably dead 100% either way, but he looks to try and cancel out the combo from Cupcake, maybe look for an outplay. Burns the big cooldown. And that is super rough. Gets dove between his 2 turrets in the mid lane with his jungler just at the Raptor camp. Walks back to lane, immediately dove by the Alistar roam, and Direwolves very early on this game. The gold is completely even because of the CS numbers.
Sure, needs to be careful here. He's in one-shot potential and will not go down. In the end, Sleeping could have used a flash for that one. Now Sleepy Trouble Bubble will land. He'll take a big boatload of damage, and that teleport is so late coming out of Tiger. Now will arrive. We'll look for something here. Seb also in the wing. Shern got level 6. That will be a lot of damage onto Sleeping. Luch now here as well, but he doesn't have
Bubble?
the Shockwave. Bubble lands again over the wall, goes triple. Taunt Flash into the kill for BioPanther, and now they've just corralled them underneath this turret. Tiger trying to run around in circles. That will miss, however, he'll burn the Flash as well. Two-man headbutt pulverized. Shern has to use the ultimate. He most likely will fall down on the back end of this. Overreach, shutdown will be there. Curtain Call now opens up, looking for the continued slow. Sleeping Trouble Bubble will land again, and finally the play will fizzle.
And that was a disaster from the Bombers until that kill. Direwolves ultimately do overextend. Shernfire loses his life, but that was a level 5 Jin, a level 5 Pyke rotating up. Seb didn't have Paranoia either, so they were stuck between their turrets. Direwolves looking so proactive there. Ultimately, they trade back one, but that was a 4 versus 5. King the entire time, just farming it up on the bot side, catching back up to that Jin somewhat. Now is faced off against Sleeping with the Camille, and everything goes back to basics.
However, Gold still dead even.
Yep.
You'd have to say it's only about 100 actually because of the shutdown that Luch picked up. So that kill onto Shern really did help them out there.
Absolutely did. Jin got himself the Swifty Boots rush, has that BF sword as well as he picked up the kill, so now finds himself 500 gold up despite being basically even with the Swain. This is a much more proactive early game than we saw in game number 1. Shernfire was just farming it up last time. Happy to scale in multiple lanes now, contesting the marks, looking for that invade onto the blue buff, ganking mid lane time and time again with the help of his Alistar roaming. So Direwolves game number 1, convincing victory and starting it again here.
However, I do like the fact that Bombers are willing to fight a little bit of fire with fire. At a certain point, you can't let people walking into your top jungle. Sleeping went for the right play, chunked out Shern, probably should have killed him before anyone else got there. A little bit of a misplay, but I like the fact that, you know, at a certain point, you do have to go forward.
Yep, maybe thought the W was just going to clean up the Kindred, who was level 5 at the time, so there was no ulti to save his life. Shernfire would have died if that one clipped. Unfortunately, a minuscule distance out of the range of that one, and gets hit with a bubble in the face. Rosie looking for a hook onto King, actually goes for Cupcake, but with a Moby Boots, it's a very fast Alistar, hard to hit.
This is the annoying thing about Alistar, is that when he goes Moby Boots in a melee support matchup, he runs at you for free.
Yep.
When you're a ranged matchup and he goes Moby Boots, he actually feels very slow just because of the damage fall, the movement speed fall off. But when he's got them activated and you're playing melee, it is a little bit hard to hit the man.
Because that's the thing, as Pyke, like, first of all, you have to charge your hook to even get range on it. It's like melee range-ish around your body if you just tap it, and you're not a Karma who can just throw a Manchukuo in his direction, cancel out the Mobies. Shockwave, unfortunately, misses for Luch.
Yeah, wanted triple there because Seb was behind him, so that would have been the cleanup. However, bummer.
Is a big bummer. Level 7 now hit from the Nocturne. We haven't seen a Paranoia as of yet. Is falling behind the Kindred already. Has finished his Warrior Enchant though, so Shernfire, you expect, has a little bit of gold to go back and buy.
And once again, they're going to look for the play. This time, however, probably a little bit more successful because they would think no threat coming out of this Orianna.
They pulled down Sleeping on the Camille, maybe looking to flank with the top laner on the backside, maybe just looking for some vision. There's no Shockwave, obviously, but this is a flashless Zoe. Mobility can only go in one direction and takes you immediately back, so even if you do have to dive, tank a few turret hits, if you have a Camille or Nocturne, the shield from Orianna will probably keep you alive, and there's not a lot of counterplay from Triple. It would have to be Shernfire floating away, and we just saw him backing on the top side of the map. Unfortunately, is respected, so Bombers don't find the opportunity to commit, and all have to back away, farm their camps, go back to lane.
This is one of those games, however, that you could see the Bombers take the win just because of their draft is what you like to see as they actually go in on top lane. That's going to be the dash away, but nicely followed by Sleeping. Red Smite is down as well. He will go golden, and Shern is heading up. Can they actually clean up the kill before Shern gets here? That's going to be Seb taking up a lot of turret damage. Now Shern is here. Flashes onto Seb. Will actually get chain CC'd, and he'll fall down as well. Double kill for Sleeping.
Gets the trade, but he doesn't get to use Lamb's Respite. Very nice CC from Sleeping, the chain between these two members. Picks up a double, now feeling very good on the Camille. Against the Shen, they're attacking the Shen's lane. They sure look for opportunities mid, but Stand United is there and available. If you hit on the Shen, CC him so he can't drop down the dodge field against double auto attacker. There's nothing the BioPanther can do.
And that's King teleporting top as we see it again.
Yep, and Taunt, Fear, goes through here as BioPanther tries to buy a little bit of distance. Once again, this was almost a repeat from game number 1, but can't buy enough time. Squishier on the Shen. Shernfire thought he could kill Seb, before he would get CC locked and taken down so he could Lamb's Respite to live from sleeping and just pick up the kill on the backside. But unfortunately, miscalculates, spell shield buys Seb a little bit of time, and hook shot speaks to his demise.
At the same time, however, King is about to take top lane turret uncontested. Tiger only just completing the recall. Does he teleport up there?
I feel like it's too late at this point. Does King stick around? He'd have to tank a few auto attacks on this wave. He's probably going to go for it. One more will be first brick going over solo to the Swain, who's pretty decently ahead right now. Has that Rod of Ages already stacking up. Big chunk of gold in his back pocket. Feels pretty nice.
Yeah, victory there. Is against a kill and assist, so gold would be relatively even, you would have to think. Is only 400 between these two teams. See right now that Triple having a look at where Sleeping is. He does, where Seb is, as he does some counter jungle.
Cupcake looking for an opportunity, and we've seen a lot of that this game. Both these teams playing pretty respectful in that regard. They stick around for maybe 10, 15 seconds, see if the enemy missteps. If they don't, they do just back away. So constantly just looking for those opportunities, preparing for it. And if the enemy team doesn't give it to you, you just back away, you go back to your lanes, and everything is fine. Gold lead still only 300 in favor of Direwolf, so fairly even game. The Nocturne is starting to fall further and further behind the Kindred at this point, though. 3 kills in the back pocket. Feels very nice, not to mention the Rift Herald.
Got a Dragon earlier on in the game as well. Would be stacking up those marks. Is about 800 gold in the lead. In saying that, Seb's ultimate very useful against the Shen as the game progresses.
Absolutely is, and it's rough for Bombers to look for a pick. Picking onto the Alistar is...
Alistar actually just cancelled the ultimate. Now, however, he's going to take a lot of damage. Should ultimately fall down here, you suspect. However, Shen ultimate now being channeled means that he will live. Yeah,
but that was a cancel onto Sleeping's TP topside to try and dissuade them from taking away this top tower, but ultimately...
Sleeping actually cancelled it himself. So he just used ultimate and Biopanther ultimate for a half channel.
Bit weird there, but it does mean Shen has to back away. He's 2 versus 1 of the situation. Zoe
popped in the mid lane. Zoe goes to half health, has to use the flash. Only one of the ultimate used as well, so triple in kill threat.
Yep, that is a real flash as well. Paranoia was the only one going down, so Shockwave still available. Top side, they rotate down.
The slow is there. They get a lot of damage out, however, cannot chase into Fog of War.
Not to mention sleeping in base. TP-less, of course, did just cancel.
Shockwave
Pole
misses now. So that is going to be Cupcake taking a lot of damage. He also has to burn the flash, but flash out of Luch.
And that is a very squishy Alistar without the Unbreakable Will. No ability to tank anything up there, so they were just trying to CC them for long enough to King to walk over, long enough for the rest of the members to land, but ultimately they don't. And a 0 for 0 kill trade.
Yeah, teleport being channeled into the mid lane. That is going to be Triple joining.
Player. Trying to contest 2 versus 1 here. Unfortunately,
doesn't
get it.
Least.
Absolutely does. Paranoia burnt. Flash has to go over the wall, and this might just be the second mountain. Once again, this is one of those compositions where they have the 80 carry jungler in the Kindred. They have mages, so double mountain Drake rather means their Baron gets exponentially quicker. And they have the tanks to facilitate this time. They have the Shen, they have the Alistar. Things like that, potentially just looking for mid lane though. Rift Herald is still in Shenfire's pocket. Do they drop it?
I don't think they have to at the moment. You can see doing a lot of damage here. King gets ripped forward, but not the member you want, and that will just be mid lane turret going down for naught.
And the Bombers are just so slow to rotate here. Camille on the bot side has no ultimate, has no TP, so he's at least another 15, 20 seconds away. Flashless Orianna.
Continuing to aggress, and that is a big amount of damage. However, Luch gets 2 members with a Shockwave, gets back into the Lamb's Respite, and now Shen will go so low. Luch finally falls, but in comes the Shen. Meanwhile, Shelly just having his way with the mid lane turret, but that's going to be finally the Paranoia channeled. Goes on to Cupcake. He will go very low, will fall down, and now they continue the chase onto Biopanther. Nice taunt lands. However, meanwhile, bottom lane still just pushing through. Shelly in the mid lane is also just continuing her reign of terror. Biopanther will have to burn the flash. Hook is on. Execute is there. Gives over his cut, and that's an ace.
And Blamwell's absolutely turned this one around. 4 versus 5 there. Sleeping nowhere to be found, and Direwolves, they overcommit to the play, looking to get onto Luch. Lamb's Respite actually means the Shockwave kills 2 members of the Direwolves and then actually gets to live on the backside for even longer. It all started with this bubble. They look to commit onto the Shockwave of the Orianna. Very big damage there. Goes into Lamb's Respite, lives. And there's just no carry threats up and available for Direwolves at this point. Swain is dead, Zoe's dead, Churnfire dies immediately, so the fact that Camille just gets to farm it up and split push this entire time with a Shen and an Alistar, there's no way they're really killing anyone. Seb ultimately does have to burn the stopwatch as Fire Panther, he kind of knows he's dead at this point and just looks to go for the trade, but that's a huge swing of gold.
Great target selection coming out, and Biopanther flashing there I think is a big mistake. Needs that flash taunt, one of the only ways they get a team fight without Cupcake having his flash available in my eyes. Rosie just taking some raptors for himself.
And that's a Runan's Jin.
Okay, I like it.
Do you?
Yeah, it's a lot of attack speed. He turns attack speed into a damage.
That's super weird. Normally you see the Rapid and like a super scary Jin walking around with a 4-shot crit that has a whole bunch
But they're
of range.
also short range.
Yep.
Like, you don't need the extra range as Jin in this composition. You
That's
outrange everyone apart from Triple on the comp. As a Sleeping somehow is getting 1v1 by Biopanther very convincingly.
Disastrous at this point. Working on that second item is the Shen. Triforce completed with the team map, but has just been sitting down here for a very long time, farming it up. Still has the TP available. So Bombers.
It's going to face check multiple
Going back
members
to the
here.
Shen.
Sleeping is going in. Over the wall they go. They use all of their ultimates as well. The CC will land. Does Rosie give over his cut? Doesn't have the ultimate available. He does have the ultimate available. Doesn't use it.
No looking for resets there. Nobody else around. Maybe just willing to hold on to that one. And if you look at the state of the map, Direwolves have so much priority on the top side. So many pinks around that Baron in Bombers top side jungle. As Biopanther, you really shouldn't be face checking that bush. You know there's nothing but darkness there. Face checks are pink ward. Multiple people come out. Nocturne, of course, comes out of the shadows once again. And picking on the Shen is what they need to do. If you pick on someone else, Shen will save them. So it makes sense to continuously be attacking Biopanther in the side lane.
Not to mention, Sleeping needs to be far enough ahead to shove this lane in and rotate to the fight. That's what you want to be able to do. You want to have the option of, are we this? Oh, actually hooks onto Shern. That will be the stun landing. Shockwave also there, and he gets blown up before anything can happen. Now they continue to stream forward. The slow will be there. Cupcake going very low, and this is 20 minutes into the game. Do they start Baron? No, they back away. They want mid.
Now Bombers find themselves with a 2,000 gold lead. Kuden showed us yesterday, and Rosie is now Pike's Chase after you get that first pick. Is just so good. Constant harpoons coming out with the Q, hooking back multiple people. He's pretty damn quick, can go underwater, and Bubble goes a little bit wide. Not to mention, has execute damage there, so Direwolves, sure, they have double Mountain Drake, but if they keep getting picked off, the gold lead just swinging back in Bombers' favor.
I mean, they're 3,000 gold ahead. Very far up right now. You can see a lot of that is on Rosie and the bottom lane in general. Mid lane also up 1,200 gold, so Luch having a much better performance on the team fighting mage.
And this has been turnaround from the first 10 minutes to the last 10 minutes. That was 2 whiffed shockwaves very early into the game. He got dove, immediately walked back to lane, and then honestly got dove again by the Alistar walking behind. And all of a sudden, 2 team fights off the back of very good shockwaves mean that Bombers turn it around and complete turnaround performance. And Bombers are a team that, back in the day when they were Abyss, built their lineup around this mid laner. Luch, they had a lot of faith in him. He stuck around through multiple iterations of the roster, and all of a sudden, they do look a lot better when he is performing well. That game on Zoe last week versus Order, he was really the one man that was standing toe-to-toe. Unfortunately, he died to a Darius literally once, and they lost the game, but he's stepping it up somewhat.
Yeah, and that death, to be fair, was one auto attack and an ultimate.
Yep.
Because Tally was on the Blood Rage 5-stack automatically being put down. Weird interaction with Darius, which I don't like. So there's not much counterplay to that.
And it was like the
what do you do?
The deepest flank, and you're a Zoe that, like, I don't even know if he had flash at that point, but it almost doesn't matter. If Darius comes from behind you, you can only flash to, like, over his head, and then he's still got apprehend to root you in. So not a whole lot of counterplay. This game on a different champion, though. It is triple picking up the Zoe, and
do you know how everyone has that one champion they always ban? If I play top lane, I'm a Darius banner.
yeah, okay.
I just don't like having him in the game.
I feel like I don't play much top lane, but it's a real obnoxious lane to deal with. 'Cause
Yeah.
if you die once, like, he just snowballs
over.
out of control. And as like an auto-filled top laner, you don't want to play those real volatile matchups that can immediately go wrong.
You want the Ornn into the Scion. Let's just ships in the night each other. We'll get farm, you get farm.
It's like those people that get auto-filled support, and it's like, man, just pick Janna. Sit in the bush. You pick Thresh, you pick Bard, you're useless.
Yep.
But they think they can do it, fall behind early, and then have a bit of a rough time. Triple still sitting in that pink watered bush, constantly looking for a bubble. Direwolves, despite being in a gold deficit right now, have clawed it back from 3 to 2,000, looking to get their next dragon as well, but they've maintained a lot of priority around the Baron buff. That's 4 pinks that have been sitting there for probably over 5 minutes at this point. Bombers will be able to clear at 1.
I mean, you can see they're very hesitant to even do that.
Yep.
Dashing in to actually check those brushes. They don't know who could potentially be here.
Well, that's the thing. Their composition is very good if Direwolves just force on top of them. You have a Swain diving in, Shen, Alistar, things like that, and all of a sudden everyone is stepping over a ball from the Orianna. Shockwave lands, Pike reset, stuff like that, but they don't have a tank to face check. They don't have a Xayah Rakan with a Gragas to immediately pull the trigger. This is one of those Bombers compositions like they play with the Bard, things like that, where they have pseudo-engage at best. It's a Nocturne or a Camille taking the Shockwave into the backline if Bombers do ever need to force. So finally, they do find an avenue to the Baron Pit and clear out the majority of Direwolves' vision, but it has taken a long time.
The Bombers kind of confused me because they didn't access that through mid lane. You know, they see Zoe top, so they would be able to shove this wave in if they wanted to. Instead, they look for a strange pick in the top lane brush. And if you're the Direwolves and you're there,
what are you doing there?
I'm confused as to what you're doing.
There's no reason to go up there. The wave top lane is shoved into your inner turret, so unless anybody's showing in the wave and you're looking for a gank, there's no reason you're walking up that top river. You kind of see this, I feel like Tectonic has done it a lot earlier on in the split as well. Bombers do it where they just sit and look for a Fnatic push when they have an advantage, and against teams like the Direwolves, they'll just take that opportunity to just farm back up elsewhere. Hook might be on.
No, does not land. Instead, Rosie takes some damage, but that's a lot of damage coming out the back.
Ooh.
That's going to be... Was that a flash use from Luch? Yes, it was. Now Shockwave will be there just for one member, and this is not the fight you're looking for.
Bubble.
Rosie has to dash away.
Oh, the minion!
Not get blown up because the minion's the real MVP there, but without Shockwave, they can't contest.
Churnfire pulls the minion over into the way of Zoe. That was a dead Pike to rights there. Oblivion Orb has the flat magic pen Ludens. The Zoe would have one-shot him. Unfortunately, they don't get the pick. Cupcake played that very nice. He knew the Banshees was there from Luch and didn't actually blow the combo. Just went for the headbutt and then walked away immediately. Luch kind of panics, blows his flash, lands the shockwave, so it is just an ult for ult trade in terms of Cupcake, but he gets the flashback as well.
So they retain control over this Baron area. Pink Ward's going down one more time. And unless Bombers can set this one up methodically, you feel like this is going to be a tough game to maintain any gold lead.
Yeah. And you can tell that just by looking at the inventory. That's 3 blue trinket that Bombers have invested into because they have a gold lead. It's 2,000 in their favor. And they're very scared of face checking this Baron. They have no tanks. They know it's super rough. They've invested into 3 blue trinkets to have some way to check it from relative safety, but that's not getting them any control. It's sort of a band-aid solution right now. Dire will still have hella pink wards topside. There's no wards from Bombers around this area, so... And you just take a look at it right now. The deepest ward is in their own jungle, that pink ward. The banana bush around the red buff as well, but that just means Direwolves have so many opportunities. Now flashes up across the board. Biopanther bottom lane with Stand United. Flash available from Cupcake, and they just burnt Luchas, so Direwolves could look for opportunities here.
And Biopanther's winning the one-on-one. You can see right now Sleeping is on no HP. Has got himself a Ravenous, but without... Oh, actually, Cupcake might be caught. Does go for the headbutt and will break the CC of the Fear. Once again, that Sleepy Trouble Bubble nearly lands.
Unfortunately, doesn't go through the wall, goes straight up the choke and doesn't get the extra range. Rosie constantly fishing for these opportunities. Now might be in behind Cupcake, but Churnfire over the wall, doesn't want to go for that play. He's sitting on vision here, so Direwolves know exactly what's going on. They look to go for Pike.
Certainly do. Sleepy Trouble Bubble will land this time. Flash has to come out of Pike, so killing some of his combo potential, and Jin has to burn the teleport back.
And that's like round number 3 now. Rosie's been hit by so many bubbles, but because he burnt the E, he burnt the dash earlier, has to actually expend the summoner this time. Sleeping just trying to deny this one away. Biopanther doesn't really care if Sleeping gets it. He just wants to keep it away from Luch and the mid laner. The fact that he picks it up on the back end, sure, it's kind of nice, but not the biggest boon for a Shen.
Cooldown reduction is okay. Energy replenishment, fine, but you're right. It's about keeping it out of Luch's hand. It's about denying Sleeping experience and gold at this stage. You can see that he's climbed back into this game after a rough early. Was camped a little bit. And it's back to 1,500 gold. They've just 1,500 gold over the last 7 minutes. Not through a fight, not through anything, but just accumulating farm.
That's the thing. They've had so much control topside. Direwolves basically have 3 quadrants of jungle to farm, whereas Seb's only got the 1, so Kindred is now 30 CS in the lead across the board. CS leads growing for the rest of the members, and this Camille pick was the counter pick in this matchup. Bombers on the red side, last pick that champion looked forward into Biopenta.
Cupcake in some trouble, will get
Lands.
hooked up, will take a lot of damage, has to burn the ultimate immediately, and will just be chain CC'd there. He's already down so low, and that is actually the Rams' respite to try and save him. And will it even do that?
Sleeping.
Over the wall goes Sleeping, uses the ultimate, they dive in, the dive buddies are there, and now they turn their sights onto King.
Oh.
Sleeping gets knocked back into him, however, I'm not sure that's the way they wanted to go. Rosie continues the CC, very nice use of the Zonya, shut down by Triple in the mid lane. King, however, will fall. And that is a 3-for-1.
But Direwolves just overextending there. So much CC chained from the Bombers. Perfection there onto Cupcake. They have to blow the Lamb's respite without actually using too many cooldowns. They saved the Shockwave. They saved the Paranoia. Sleeping was around, so they continue to play and pick up multiple kills. The gold lead extends back to about 2,000, and getting a turret's going to mean even further.
Certainly is, not to mention the fact there's a fat top lane wave that was being pushed into Luch. If that was denied, would have been huge. However, now will be picked up. And you can see Rosie still wants this person. Will actually not be able to get him. It was so damn close. Sleepy Trouble Bubble will just miss.
But I think at the back end of that fight, Triple definitely saved the day. If he didn't take down Seb on the backlines with that GLP over the wall, if he didn't take out any members, then would have been nothing traded back for the Direwolves. Despite being in this gold hole, they're still maintaining topside control. So when Direwolves have the lead, they take absolutely everything. Bombers, they get the lead in these fights, and
over the wall they go again. They've actually started up Baron, and they know, and they've chunked out Cupcake one more time. He's already had to burn the ultimate. Rosie will fall asleep, will get ripped back, but now dashes out. It's on 4,000 health already. There is going to be a smite available, so the fight should happen. Do they go for it? Shockwave will be used. That will be, however, Sherfire picking it up. The fear is there, and he doesn't get the ultimate off. Now Seb will fall down, however. Cupcake into the back line. CC's up Luch. Sleeping and Seb trying to get everything done. Reset not there, but they grab 2 members. Biopanther also going to fall down over the wall, and it is a 3-for-4.
And can they continue looking for Cupcake? Is the only member alive, maintains the Baron. Sleeping won't be able to find the back end of that pick, but mistimed, honestly, from the Bombers. They wanted the Nocturne to go in with the Shockwave. Unfortunately, they don't get the Baron, but they're definitely winning all of these team fights. Look at the goal lead. It's only 1,000 in their favor, but 19 kills to 8. Every single fight there. Landing the CC onto the carries. Triple dies early. Sherfire dies early, and all of a sudden, breaking down turrets will explode the gold lead.
And sorry, it was a 2-for-4, and they grabbed the turret as well. So once again, they're just winning all of these fights. Shern going for an Infinity Edge again. Would argue that a QSS might be in line so he can actually get Lamb's respite down in some of these team fights.
It's incredibly important to be able to use your ultimate there. It was incredibly close. I think it was up and available by the time the fight had started. Baron went down fairly early there, but they didn't have Swain's Demonic Ascension. They didn't have Kindred ulti at the beginning. They didn't have Shen's ultimate either, so a lot of the tools here for Direwolves aren't available, and they're the one forcing this play. Luch was walking from base, but they just don't all commit to the Baron. Triple is playing Shepherd over the wall. Mistimed Shockwave onto the Baron. They wanted to hit it with Seb going into the backline, but the fact that Sleeping gets a huge flank here, Rosie on the back end of the fight is able to start resetting onto King, gets the ultimate, and Cupcake does well to live, but Direwolves, they can't keep this up. They're just constantly losing fights.
And they just gave multiple kills over to the Camille. So she goes back, grabs herself. Asterix now has 3 items and will eventually start winning out in this split, you would imagine. Also grab themselves an Air Drake. Now looking much more confident as they head into the jungle.
Absolutely, and Direwolves, they had a pretty strong early game, right? And as Cupcake, you're like, look, I can invest in a Righteous Glory. I'm the main engage tool, but now has basically made literally no gold in the past, 10 minutes of play. Biopanther is the one that's looking to build towards that locket, maybe for the big shockwaves, for the combination, stuff like that. Maybe he goes for a Zeke's. That would be super weird on a Shen, but like if you're going to group.
I mean, if you ulti someone.
But the thing is, you're not in, like...
Are you not in range? Yeah, true.
You'd have to pick your target when you're in base, Zeke's them, which would probably be Triple or Sherfire at this point. And then you ulti from across the map, and yeah, they get the bonus. So that could be cool. I can see it working. I don't think I've seen that before.
I would think that the fact that he has about 4,000 health means that he's going for a lock.
Yep.
But it would be good.
would make a lot more sense in there. The pickup is just taken away. The fact that Cupcake has the Baron makes it hard for Bombers to continue this push in. They should probably just opt in for the 1-3-1. Now that Sleeping has that third item, should be able to win out in the side lane, you would think. Or at least approaching that point. But it looks like just the group in the mid lane looking for the 1-4.
I want to talk about an item quickly that I am representing this week in It's Not That Bad in Rylai's Crystal Scepter, Bryce. So Rylai's was buffed quite a while ago. It's now 2,800 gold, gives you 80 AP, as well as some HP, and gives you a slow. So it is cheaper than both Leandries. Oh, actually, this is going to be an ultimate, so they're going to commit onto Biopanther here. No dodge field left. He's already used his ultimate. They will use Paranoia, and they actually just bring over 3 members, so he's definitely going to fall down. Rosie disperses the gold.
Yep, absolutely. And Bombers keep looking for these picks onto the Shen. It's been so successful time
Not on.
and time again. Does get himself out of range, but sure, Baron's still only available onto Cupcake, but he's nowhere to be found. This turret might just be gone for the world here.
Certainly should be. Sleeping will make short work of it, and I like the fact that they're going to the Camille's lane, continually picking on that global. Anyway, as I was saying, so you swap some penetration or the ramp-up damage for the slow, the persistent slow, and it is 200 gold cheaper. So I think that, ladies and gentlemen, Rylai's,
It's not that bad. We have seen, I think it was Raid yesterday playing this way, went for the Leandries, so players still mixing and matching there of our differing opinions, but Swain with the Rylai's is super annoying to deal with as I actually hold that thought. Cupcake.
Sleeping still going forward. Cupcake will get very low, and Shern will get stunned up and should get chunked down. No, he's actually trapped, and he does. And they get only 1 kill. Cupcake will live on the back end of it. Sleeping goes over the wall, however, now looking for Cuppers. He will get a lot of damage taken on the back end of that captive audience, but won't fall.
Unfortunately, did not do enough damage to the Alistar on the back end. Meant that the W from Jin does not root him down. So, Comet doesn't land. They get themselves a nice little pick onto Schönfire once again, who's having a much rougher game than game number 1. Sure, he's up in CS, but has died 7 times on the Kindred. You mentioned, didn't go for the QSS. Went for the Infinity Edge instead, so going for pure damage now. A 4 versus 5 for the next 40 seconds.
Over the wall they go, and that's actually a flash immediately out. However, 2 members already hit by that shockwave. They're trying to get away from King, who is in Demonic Ascension. However, will get crit, cleaned up, and a great flash off the back end of that E from Camille means that the 2 carries are dead. They can break the base.
And target selection from this Bombers lineup coming up clutch. They're attacking the Shen, and as soon as they get into team fights, picking on the Zoe, picking on the Swain. King dies with flash available, was just locked down too much, and Bombers breaking an inhib. They're looking for the end.
They want to go for the end. They've already sent Sleeping back. He will now teleport in. That Harpoon misses, but they do so much damage to these turrets. Still 30 seconds left on the carries, and they go into Schönfire. The CC will register, and he has no ultimate. He falls down. Nexus Turret 1 is already gone, and this might be the game that Order fans are hoping for. Biopanther is the last man standing, and he can do naught as the Bombers will draw us towards Game 3.
And such a turnaround game. Direwolf super convincing game number 1, but you can see on the faces, Rosie very happy with that victory. I like to call him a hipster, but picks up the pike this time.
Looked very good.
Opened up on the map. Looked very good. They're just constantly resetting. Yeah, they have that scrappy comp. They fell behind in the mid game early, and in the mid lane early. Luch was getting picked on, but once they open up the map, they were picking on Biopanther. Look, the new kid straight from OCS to OPL, and it took 6 weeks, but Bombers are the bullies.
And that puts both Chiefs and Order within striking distance of Direwolves. This is what they didn't want to do. This is their free run. They've already gone through the Chiefs, Legacy, Order once.
Yep.
However, if they start dropping 1 game here, 1 game there, and, you know, Order or Chiefs can get their act together and start 2-0ing, I mean, Sharp said he felt very confident in the Melbourne Esports Open. That's why I'm bringing it up, and maybe that is now going to start becoming a question.
And I don't know what week it was, but Sharp was the coach to come into the interview and say that the 2-0s are so incredibly important in the middle of the split, tracking towards the end. In their last 3 weeks, Direwolves have gone for the 2-0. And now they've dropped a game here to the Bombers, so completely unexpected turnaround. And you don't often get to talk about for the Bombers like momentum, right? This is a team coming in confidence is just so useful, especially going up against an undefeated top dog like Direwolves. Now equalizing the series, and there's potential for a sweep here in the best of 3. Like, they're coming in with momentum from game number 2, and looks good.
And yesterday we talked about get your carries on carries and utility players on utility. Luch and Sleeping this game time around looked much more comfortable on historic picks for them. Luch, always a big Orianna player. Sleeping's best champion has been Camille. They draft for that, and it looks very good.
Yeah, going back for comfort, Tiger in the bottom lane was on that Jhin. He's more utility, just wants to be able to open up Rosie to do his stuff. You mentioned the solo laners as well, turning it around and just going back to comfort picks, you know? Like, if what you're doing isn't working, like these finesse comps, like going for the blind pick Sejuani comps, like they went successful versus AV, but they've thrown it into the bin at this point. But going back to basics here, and it works.
Yeah, it certainly did. So they draw us towards game number 3, 1-1 between Direwolves and the Bombers. Don't go anywhere. After this break, we'll bring you more League of Legends action.
Hey guys, I'm excited to share the details about a new community creative competition. The music cover competition will give the Oceanic community a chance to show off your musical prowess. Whether you're a singer, an instrumentalist, or in a band, we want you to enter and show us your talent. We've selected 3 tracks from our League of Legends music library for you to choose from and cover. The Curse of the Sad Mummy, a Mumu's theme.
Every child in Valorant has heard the tale before.
Lightbringer by Pentakill. And Varus's theme, As We Fall. To enter, upload your cover through our WooBox submission as well as on YouTube. Entries close 11:59 PM Australian Eastern Standard Time, 22nd July 2018. Once the entries close, our internal panel of judges will select, then announce our group of finalists on the 30th of July. From then until the 5th of August, the community will have their say, voting for their favourites. The winner will then be flown to a recording studio here in Sydney, where they will have their cover professionally recorded. We'll then premiere that cover at the 2018 OPL Split 2 Grand Final at Rod Laver Arena. For full terms, conditions, entry, and pricing information, head to boards.oce.leagueoflegends.com.
Welcome back to the OCS recap for Week 10, you scallywags. I'm Jake Asterix, Ozzy Penko. This is Bradley Teagun Seymour. And if you missed out on Thursday, well, I got news for you. A lot happened.
Not just Thursday, Wednesday as well. We see a bit of a
We all
trend though.
missed out.
Wednesday, blue side. Thursday, red side, except Intuition, who just win no matter what.
I mean, that's exciting, but Mprox lost to Avant Academy. How's up?
Well, that's a tough pill to swallow for Mprox pushing into the playoffs. If Avant Academy keep this train rolling, they lose that head-to-head now.
Well, thankfully, I can't swallow tablets as we look at those standings in Avant Academy pushing up the ladder, but Intuition, they're still undefeated.
Intuition guaranteed top 2 at this point.
Yeah.
And the only way they can even fall out of first is if they essentially lose, I'd say, the next 3 games. Chiefs Academy, they lose their head-to-head, so they need a miracle to get into number 1.
Only loss Chiefs Academy have there as well, but the 4-man tie for third. And if you're outside that tie, right now you're sitting in the danger zone. Top 6 make playoffs, and we've got 3 weeks left to go.
Oh, there's plenty of time to push into that. Legacy
There
Genesis, Avant Academy, both making that run.
All right, T-Gun, next week, what's your matchup? What are you looking at?
Dire Cubs Crimson Gaming.
And it's
Simple
on the
as that.
Wednesday. We don't even get to cast at T-Gun. We're going to have to go offline for that one.
Unfortunate, but also on the Wednesday, Avant Academy, Chiefs Academy, another important game when it comes to top 6.
I think Legacy Genesis and Order Academy are mine, to be quite honest. Legacy Genesis, Carbon's been bringing the pain, the fire, and Minky Whale alongside for him. However, that's all we got time for again. This is T-Gun. I'm Asterix. If we don't see you next week, that's because we've gone to Japan.
Hungry Jack's new pulled beef burger. Slow-cooked pulled beef with crispy slaw and paired perfectly with new pulled beef loaded chips. Cooked slowly, but enjoyed quickly.
Continuing to aggress, and that is a big amount of damage. However, Luch gets 2 members with a shockwave, gets back into the Lambda spot, and now Shern will go so low. Luch finally falls, but in comes the Shen. Meanwhile, Shally just having his way with the mid lane turret. Fire Panther will have to burn the flash. Look is on, Execute is there, gives over his cut. That's an ace. That will be the stun landing. Shockwave also there, and he gets blown up before anything can happen. Now they continue to stream forward. The slow will be there. Cupcake going very low, and this is 20 minutes into the game. Do they start barring that? Over the wall goes Sleeping, uses the ultimate. They dive in, the dive buddies are there, and now they turn their sights onto King. Do they go for it? Shockwave will be used. That will be, however, Sherfire picking it up. The fear is there, and he doesn't get the ultimate off. Now Seb will fall down, however. Cupcake into the back line. CC's up loose. Sleeping and Seb trying to get everything done. Reset not there, but they grab 2 members. Biopanther also going to fall down over the wall. 2 members already hit by that shockwave. They're trying to get away from King, who is in demonic ascension. However, will get crit, cleaned up, and a great flash off the back end of that E from Camille means that the 2 carries are dead. Biopanther is the last man standing, and he can do naught as the Bombers will draw us towards Game 3.